welcome to HipCat Society's Do the Damn Thing, the weekly show where we talk to solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, superpreneurs, anyone out there doing it. And this week we have a very special guest. With me is Scott Rubin. Hi, Scott.
How's it going, Laura Foy? How are you?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you for joining us today. Scott, first of all, is a dear friend of mine. We've known each other for many, many years. We worked together on a few things in the past you may or may not have seen. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But really why I wanted to have you on this week, Scott, is because you are a lifelong, die-hard, one might say glutton for punishment entrepreneur. We were just kind of talking about, you've been doing this startups, whether you're starting with a brand new company or it's your own company, really forever, right? I mean, have you ever really worked for the man?
I did. I worked for the man for a long time and then kind of said, you know what? I need to create. My dad was an entrepreneur. He had his own. My dad was one of the first people in the world to fix those old digital watches, those like LED red watches. So people from all over the country would send their watches to a post office box, and me and my dad would go, and I would go and pull all the boxes of watches and bring them home. My dad would fix them.
Right.
And it was like he kind of was his own boss. And then he had his own watch store as well. So I kind of always saw him as his own boss and coming up with ideas and making them happen.
Very cool. Now, Scott, you and I know each other from years and years ago. Back in New York City, we worked at a company called Pseudo.com, which I
Yeah.
guess you were my boss. I mean, I think I was the boss, but technically you paid the bills. So talk to me about how you started that, right? So Scott's a gamer. You like to play video games, and you did what people nowadays just dream of. You monetized that. How did you
Yeah. So,
launch
so
all this?
this was literally 1995 HTML web version 1.0. And I was in college at Brooklyn College, and I was taking an internet computing type class. And the guy was like 65, 70 years old, had never been on the internet, and he had a Mac, so he didn't have a PC. And I had just gotten through building my own little like 386 33 computer to play computer game. And this magazine called Net Guide came out, and it was all about how to make your own web page. This was in 1995. And I decided I was going to try and make my own web page. And what I found was, and what really the light bulb in my head was, at that point, Warner Brothers or anyone else could not make a better website than I could. The technology was at such a base level that if you had skills to do something incredible, it didn't matter. You just needed to go text and images. And in my head, I thought this is a magazine that can go on forever. And so
Right.
I started to teach myself how to make web pages. And then I figured they had some radio shows about politics on the internet. They had some movie talk shows, but I was a video gamer and there was nobody talking about games. So I decided I was going to call up game publishers and do phone interviews with the developers,
Right.
digitize them on my computer, and upload them to the internet. It took about 5 hours. But within the first month of doing that, uploading these interviews, people from 24 countries were coming to the website
Wow.
and downloading them.
Wow. So would you
Yeah.
say that, it was more of a right time, right place? Because one of the things we hear from our audience is, everything's been invented or, there's nothing new anymore. But, obviously I would argue against that. However, your story, that particular story is maybe like, were you just at the right time, right place?
Well, I mean, it was a window of time. So it
Right.
didn't have to be right then, but the internet was becoming a reality and there was a gold rush. And, a lot of people smarter than me made a lot more money and came up with a lot bigger ideas during that time period. But look, every week, new websites. We're now almost 30 years later, and every week, new websites, new ideas. There is no shortage of ideas. You will have them, but it goes beyond the idea. Everyone can have an idea. Executing,
Right.
that's the hard part.
Right. And just remember, guys, we are live. So if anyone has questions, please go ahead and just enter them in and we'll do our best to get them answered. This is Do the Damn Thing. We're talking with Scott Rubin. So you launched the All Games Network, which we touched on, and that actually blew up. You joined, I don't know all the details, but I know you ended up joining Pseudo, and then that turned into G4, the television network, which you were one of the founders of, which obviously is had a massive following. It was a wonderful hit. Their best show ever was clearly G4TV.com.
Because of the co-hosts.
Right, but I can see the natural path line from that. Okay,
Yeah.
you're making websites, you love gaming. I can see that progression. How then did you transition to what you're doing now, which explains to us exactly what you are doing now?
I make ice cream with liquid nitrogen,
There's
and
a jump there.
it's First of all, I never cooked. I hated being in the kitchen cleaning, and some might say I wasn't a great driver, and there I was with a liquid nitrogen ice cream manufacturing dairy plant in California. I have a state certified dairy plant. I have a commercial kitchen. I have a LA County food truck commissary, and it was really about magic and delight and watching people eat this ice cream made right in front of them out at Burning Man. And the wheels were really just, wow, that's cool. It wasn't
Ideas
like, oh, I
come
want to
at
do this as a
Burning Man.
business.
I've heard that,
Yeah, they
Ben.
come at
Crazy
business.
thoughts and ideas come at Burning
But
Man.
it wasn't really a business idea. It was just like, oh, this is cool and fun. But what happened was people started to eat the ice cream and say, oh my God, I've been eating ice cream my whole life. This is the best thing I've ever had. And when you start to hear that over and over, you go, okay, well, maybe there's something here. And for me, having been in this kind of media industry for so long, where you come up with an idea, then you got to write it, and you got to get people to shoot it and edit it, and then it's got to be distributed, and then they have to sell it. It's like by the time you've seen the fruits of your labor, sometimes it's a lot further down the road. You need this huge amount of people to make that happen. And so I wanted to shift to something that was, I give you a product, you pay me for it, end of story. And the idea of this kind of cash transaction for an item was, I mean, the foundation of a lot of commercial and retail business. But for me, it was kind of detached. And what I found was there was so much joy in making something myself, selling it to somebody and seeing their reaction, and then getting paid for it. That was pretty
Right.
cool too. So that was kind of the idea. It just kind of started with, wow, this is a great product. Wow, no one's really doing this. I'm in Los Angeles where it's pretty much warm 11 months out of the year. This is a great place for it. And it's been 6 years now. And I've done celebrities, movie premieres, TV shows.
So
I've
you
done it all. Now we're doing wholesale.
so you love it.
I do love it. I do love watching people eat it and the reaction
Well,
every
there's a
time.
similar thread there with media. I mean, we used to love making television and we loved watching people enjoy that creation. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
you're a
for
people
sure.
guy.
Yeah, I've been an entertainer. I like to make people smile. I like to make people laugh. I feel like I'm cheating a little bit because it's sugar and sugar's a drug. So,
Well,
of course, they're going to put that in their mouth and go, wow, that's great. But it's good for you. It's organic. We don't use preservatives. We don't use any stabilizers. So, you're getting the cleanest, freshest ice cream that you can get. You can't buy it anywhere in the supermarket. We're changing that.
very cool. Now, would you say that your past experience with launching the All Game Network, to launching Pseudo, to launching G4, all of those things, did they help you in terms of your business planning when you went to go launch this own business, or was it a lot of like figuring it out as you go?
Oh my God. It was like figuring it out every single day. Being an entrepreneur, you better have a really stiff spine because you will get knocked down. And I was knocked down on a daily basis from the LA County Department of Public Health, the Department of Transportation Hazmat Division. They didn't want me driving around with tanks of liquid nitrogen. Every single day, I was dealing with some issue, and I had to learn the food truck industry and bookers in LA, and the health department, and LA County is the hardest. Like, you have to figure out things, but that to me is what makes being an entrepreneur so exciting. Instead of going to the same office, picking
Right.
up the same paper, doing the same thing every day is an adventure, and every day 6 years later is completely different. Every week is different, every month is different, and that to me is what makes being an entrepreneur so exciting.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree. And I feel the same way about marketing, Scott. Every day is different. I don't get to talk to you every day. Only on the best days. So let's talk about this business. You're launching a new business. You've mentioned you've done celebrity events. I mean, there's no shortage of those in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
All of these like amazing functions. I've seen pictures. How do you get started? Like, do you have a social media page? Do you invest in a lot of marketing? Is it word of mouth? Like, what do you do?
Marketing is very important, but I have to be honest. I have spent in 6 years $0 in marketing,
What?
and the reason it has worked out this way is because I'm doing
Don't do
something
that.
very
Don't
niche,
do that.
very unique, and there's not a lot of competition. And I have a name that really can't be confused with anything. And so when anybody types in nitrogen ice cream or futuristic ice cream or futuristic dessert, I pop up. Google's been very good to me. I get great, almost all my responses come from Google, but I know that's not for everyone. And I know not everyone has a product or a business that just magically looks cool on video. Like you see our process, it's kind of engaging, it kind of captivates you. So all of those things played into my marketing kind of strategy, knowing that I could just go to an event with 1,000 people, they see something they've never seen before, and they're like, wow, this is cool. The phone rings a couple of days later. Hey, I was at an event. You guys look really cool. Can you do this movie premiere? And that's kind of word of mouth has really been our best marketing.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, what about you mentioned your Google's been not kind to you. I mean, you had to do some SEO optimization, something.
Zero. Because, oh, but only because it's liquid nitrogen ice cream. That's what they're searching for. And if you are even in New York and you type in liquid nitrogen ice cream New York, Google loves me so much that I come up and I get calls every day from New York, from Hawaii, from Florida. They type in local. Google gives my result first. They think I'm in their city because they type that name. So it's just been this, I have to say, Google in that sense has been amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing because we here in Colorado Springs we got a liquid nitrogen shop recently. I haven't been to it now in the days of COVID, but I would imagine that you'd come up even above them. Do you find that there's a lot of competition in your space?
Not really.
Not
And
really.
now with COVID, even less. It's a very unique thing. It's not just dessert, there's science, there's danger. Liquid nitrogen is 320 degrees below zero. It can
Yeah,
burn you. There are some issues, dealing with tanks. And when I go to a party, I bring 60 liters of liquid nitrogen. So it's not easy to jump into. And I kind of like that because it took me years to get over that first, business, especially startups. It's like this roller coaster, and there's always like this, it
of
never goes
course.
away. But that first kind of when you're like, going up that thing and you're just at the edge, that was like 2 years for me. And then it went really scary for a while. And so you just kind of have to be ready to adapt,
Yeah.
ready to kind of take every challenge as it comes and don't get frazzled. And really, the ability for you to have some backup plan, I think that's the danger. Don't have a backup plan.
No safety net.
No safety net.
Just all in.
You're all in.
I like it. I like it. You know, there's a concept in marketing called blue ocean, red ocean, which basically like a blue ocean is when you're kind of there swimming around all by yourself and all the sharks come in and feed and make the category or industry cluttered and the ocean turns red with blood. So essentially you found and created your own blue ocean, which is, really the secret to success. When we were talking earlier about is there anything new? Can you invent anything new? Inspiration may come from where you least expect it, but you've essentially created your
Absolutely.
own blue ocean. We've got a question here from Shannon Mackey. She says, how do you keep such a strong mindset with all of the ups and downs and the roller coasters that you just described?
It's hard. And, financially, obviously, is like everything else, like, is the product good? That was solved early. It didn't keep me up at night. That was actually the easiest part of this. But money, finances, keeping your cash flow going. There were many nights where I would sit and lay in bed and look up and go, oh my God, tomorrow this whole thing is going to come crashing down. And that happens multiple times. Your ability to stand there and get up the next day and build again, that is what makes a successful entrepreneur. You have to take the scary part and use them as fuel and lesson for the next one, because there's going to be more scary stuff. It never changes. And really, once you get comfortable and you're like, all right, I got this figured out, well, now you have to scale. And
Right.
once you start to scale, you're going to enter in a whole new world of new challenges and new frustrations. So
Christopher Dunner has asked if we could get a recap for those late to the stream. Well, for those late to the stream, this is Do the Damn Thing for HipCat Society, and we're talking with Scott Rubin, who is a lifelong entrepreneur, and we are just trying to tap into some of his wisdom, some of his knowledge, and talk about his experiences launching all of these mega industries. Now, I mentioned earlier that there's a nitrogen ice cream shop. I'm not sure of the technical terminology near me. I don't even know their name because I don't eat that junk. I only eat yours, which was delivered to my house this morning, by the way. Delicious. Thank you. Do you find that you get a lot of like what they call cheater brands, or people trying to sort of ride your coattails?
So, there are a couple of other liquid nitrogen places. There's a chain called Creamistry. It's a different experience, different product. Ingredients are everything. Everything we do is organic and locally sourced, so that helps. But when it comes to competition, and some people, everyone's different. I don't look at or follow on Twitter, Instagram, anyone that's in my space. Zero.
Because
sometimes
you don't
people come
want to.
hey, did you hear about? I don't want to be influenced by someone else. I don't want to be distracted by someone else. I think if you're spending time focusing on your competition and what they're doing, that's seconds, minutes, hours. You're not focusing on your product and what you can do and what you can be doing better.
Right.
And the customers will tell you if what you're doing is right. You don't need to look at your competition to figure out if what you're doing is right. And when you get that good relationship with a customer, they'll tell you what they want that you're not doing. And I just think the less distraction, especially from, I was doing that first. I don't even get into that because I'm not looking.
We've had some very astute viewers. One wanted to know if the tapes in your background are old G4 tapes, and then someone else, excuse me while I get up, actually noticed, and I didn't put this here for the show, this is real, that this was the background. I don't know if you guys know that. Let me go here. Let me go.
It's blurry. It's almost like it doesn't want to show it. Oh, there we go.
There we go. So yeah, this is a comic that was drawn of Scott, myself. That's me, the really awesome one.
The software is blurring it because it thinks it's porn.
Oh, well, it kind of is porn. Anyway, I'll upload
there you go.
Oh, I'll upload a picture later. Anyways, people are noticing our backgrounds. So are those G4 tapes in your background?
Those tapes are literally a small slice. When we were on TV, on the internet, back, Laura and I worked together in 98, 99, 2000.
No dates.
On the internet. And those things were never on YouTube. So all the shows that Laura did, I did, everything we did at Pseudo, thousands and thousands of hours, has never, ever been seen on the internet. So I have been digitizing tapes from Pseudo, from All Games Network, and from G4 over the past few months during the pandemic, but there are literally another 600 hours left. So slowly I'm going to digitize that, and hopefully we can put together a show where we show off some of the best stuff from the gaming era before YouTube and before IGN and all that kind of stuff.
That'd be awesome. We are getting some questions about, and then we'll get back on track. But we're getting some questions about the new G4. You knew they would be coming, and whether or not you and I will be involved in that. Would you like to field that question, Scott?
Should we tell them? But make the big announcement.
Are we allowed to announce it?
I don't know. Can we
cancel our contracts?
I'm open for anything. I mean, I literally just this past week built a computer with my son for computer gaming. So I still play games and Xbox and PlayStation. So between all these hours of history of gaming and current gaming and the future of gaming and VR, there's plenty to talk about. So G4 TV, Blair, whoever, let's go. Let's make it happen.
All right, cool. I knew that was coming, so we had to get that over with. Let's get back on track real quick. So I want to know what you would say to the people who are afraid. You're an inspirational guy. You've always inspired me. You give wonderful speeches. If anyone is having a wedding, I suggest you invite Scott. So, like, what would you say to them to get them off their butts and to do the damn thing?
I have to say that people always talk about how it's so hard now, and this generation has been screwed by the generation before, and there's no opportunity. And I want to tell you all that's absolutely the most insane thing you could possibly think. Readjust your thinking.
Right.
When I was a kid, if you wanted to make a TV show or a radio show or anything, a book, the people that had the equipment and the distribution were so out of touch and out of reach that it wasn't even something you could even consider. Now, your computer, your iPad, even your phone can produce music, videos, comic books, anything. And the distribution is right at your fingertips. So instead of waiting for some company to think you're awesome, you have the ability to put that out there now and let the people decide if you're awesome. And if you can't get advertising, create a Patreon and allow the people to fund you directly, or create a Kickstarter, Indiegogo. So there's literally no excuse for not taking the idea you have and at least trying to run it to the goalpost. And
Right.
the tools are there. There are so many free resources, websites, access to every tool that you could possibly need for either cheap or free. So the only excuse is that you're afraid. And if you're afraid of failure, think about what you want for success. You put it on a vision board, you put it on your wall, you look at it every day, and I guarantee you, if you work hard, I promise you it will all happen.
Do you have a vision board, Scott?
I've always had vision boards. I've everything I've ever wanted to come true has started on either a piece of paper or on my wall or on. I used to use my desktop wallpaper to make things come true. I would put it and stare at it every day, and that's how I would get
And
it to
I
come to
wasted
fruition.
that space with a picture of Leonardo DiCaprio.
Well, you never know. He might show up.
He might show up. You never know. I could meet him in San Tropez. You
Yeah,
mentioned
this
all
is a
the
long game.
yeah. Now you mentioned waiting for other people to kind of buy into your ideas. Did you have partners? Did anyone help you with the funding? I mean, you had to
Yes,
require some money
yes,
to get this all up and going, right?
yes. Everything I've ever done, there have been people that have helped me. Maybe it wasn't a lot. With all games, it was thousands of dollars to keep that thing running before I sold it to Sudo and was able to pay that person back for what they invested. With the ice cream business, it's a little bit of a longer game, but I have investors who have said to me, you run and you take this as far as you can. Don't worry about paying me back right now. Worry about growing the company and turning that investment into something bigger. So yes, you need people. It's okay to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for people for help that doesn't require money. Sometimes somebody can just do something for you that'll help you that doesn't require money out of their pocket. Got to be creative, and especially with funding, there's financing, credit cards, and stuff. Don't dig yourself too deep, and try to just be creative with financing.
Now, one of the things that I would imagine was a huge boost to your company was the MX, or sorry, the Chase campaign, right? I mean,
Yeah, that was cool.
yeah, that was pretty cool, right? Let me see if we can show some of it here. Zoom in here. There we go. Oh, hold on. Move it. Talk to me about how this came about.
Yeah. Uh,
So
it was
you're
a phone
literally you
call.
are the showcased entrepreneur, the showcased business, and this campaign was everywhere. I mean, it was online. I believe it was in print. How did you get found for this, and what has it done to your business and sales?
Yeah. So it was a total call to my voicemail from a casting agent saying they don't know if I'm interested, but they saw an article about my business. They're looking for unique businesses, but they have to have a Chase bank account. So I happen to already have a Chase bank account. I called
Me too.
back.
They
I
didn't
said,
call
I'm
me.
unique. I have a Chase bank account. And I thought I was being picked. So I was like, sure, I'll come in. So I went in, and it was like 60 people in this room all auditioning for this commercial. So I was like, oh, okay. I brought ice cream. I was like thinking I was going to give it to them. Like, thanks for picking me. And they're like, the guy's like, oh, I just take the video and then I hand it to my boss. I'm like, oh, okay. Do you want to give the ice cream to them? And he's like, yeah, sure. So I didn't really know what was going on. I just answered a bunch of questions. And then, about a week later, I got a call saying, the director really likes you. He wants to come to your kitchen and kind of meet you. So I said, okay. The director came, and he was a film and TV director that does really high-end commercials. And I gave him the kind of tour of my kitchen. I showed him how the ice cream was made. He had never seen it before. And I just talked to him about my story. And he was like, it's you. You're the guy. You're the one. And I was like, okay. So they picked me and a woman who owns a natural wine business and a man who makes furniture using reclaimed wood. And it was for the Chase Inc. business card. And we became the face of this campaign. Yeah. Movie theaters, TV, internet, print. It's been running now 3 years. It's going to run for another year. They shot it over 3 days.
I mean, I know how cool it was to do. Obviously, it was cool. It was fun. You're a television guy at your core, so I'm sure it was an amazing experience. But did it correlate to actual revenue? Did it increase your sales?
Yes. So business, definitely. I got more calls. I got a lot of notification calls from people looking to invest. I got calls from India and Russia and Sri Lanka. How do I do nitrogen in Sri Lanka? How do I do nitrogen in
nitrogen guy.
And so I had to. Whoa, I lost you there.
Oh.
There we go. So I got all these people wanting to kind of take the business around the world. And
Scott. All right. There he is. Hi, Scott.
I don't know what happened.
That's all right. It's live. It's all good. We'll edit it out. So keep going. So get all these calls.
It brought me business from around the world and the opportunity to expand the business into other parts of the country. So, free $1 million campaign doesn't hurt. Definitely apply to all, like FedEx, I know, does small business campaign where they give grants every year. A lot of my time has been spent filling out applications for business opportunities and, a variety of different, what do you call them, grants?
Right. Like I mean, it really sounds like you are the perfect example of someone who's using everything that's available to you. You know what I mean? You're out there, you're working it, you're killing it, you're exploring free tools, you're looking at marketing campaigns. I mean, you're really doing what they say you're supposed to do, right? You're the textbook example of a success story.
Well, I don't know about that, but I know that if you just do it, that Nike phrase is real. A lot of people, I talk to them, they have ideas and they're like, oh, I'm going to do this. And then the next time I see them, so what's going on? Yeah, I'm totally doing it. And it's like the idea is exciting to them. And I would this is my big piece of advice. Whatever your big ideas, your business ideas, think about the day-to-day. Write down every single thing that's going to happen in a transaction with a customer. Write down what a week looks like, because I've done probably 500 parties over the last few years because we're a big party event business. But that's not this job. This job is a lot different than that. And so those are the things that you have to be willing to love and embrace to take your idea from idea to execution. And I think a lot of people get the idea, and then the first time they start to figure it out and go, oh, yeah, this is actually, but I would say that is when you need to push through and keep going. And, if it's not fun and you don't enjoy doing it, then it's time to get out. Because if you're not having fun doing it on the hardest days, there's going to be a lot of hard days. So
yeah, no, there
are. You got to enjoy the grind.
We've got just under a minute left, so I don't want to keep you any longer than promised. But I think what you said is really poignant. I mean, I know even myself, I own a Painting with a Twist. I mean, I'm not a solopreneur, I'm a franchise, but still, I did the damn thing. And there's so much about it that I didn't know going in. And honestly, had I known, I might not have done it. So it might be a
Yeah.
blessing, and same for you, perhaps, where it's like, had you known
Yeah.
all of the low down
Mm,
nitty gritty, would you have still done it?
yeah. Yeah. Although I'm early with nitrogen, I was early with internet TV and gaming TV. So, who knows? Maybe in 10 years, I'll be doing something else and the world will be eating a lot more nitrogen ice
I
cream.
can
You just never
almost
know.
guarantee in 10 years you'll be doing something else because you're that kind of guy. You're an entrepreneurial spirit. And
That's
we
true.
are
I
out
will
of
be.
time. But thank you so much for joining me. I love you and I
Thank
miss
you.
you. Thank you for the ice cream.
Love you too.
And everyone
Bye,
else,
everybody.
see you guys next week. See you later. Do the damn thing. Bye.
Do it.